In this video today, I'm going to go over some behaviors that validate that you've suffered either trauma or some form of abuse, and how those behaviors, what illnesses they manifest into over time of being in this behavior. The first one I'm going to get into, because I see it the most common, is people who over apologize. They always feel inclined to apologize even if they didn't do something wrong. And they're also often the ones who are blamed for things they didn't do, but they apologize anyway because they want to keep the peace. Now, this behavior resonates with the sacral chakra and the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, for obvious reasons, that we're over expressing ourselves in voice, but we're suppressing our feelings and emotion, and that we're not defending ourselves. We're literally just putting ourselves out there and accepting blame because we want to maintain peace, which also means we're surrendering our personal power, which is the sacral chakra. Now, with surrendering personal power in the sacral chakra, that can cause a significant amount of illness depending on how long this behavior continues. And it can cause, menstrual cramping, heavy menstrual cycles, imbalance in hormones, ovarian cysts. It can go all the way as far as endometriosis. And in the throat chakra, it starts out as neck pain. Then it will manifest usually into either having jaw pain or a stiff jaw, TMJ, with the popping and cracking, sometimes ringing in the ear. And then it'll start to affect your thyroid and also go down into your trapezius muscles, into your shoulder, and then into shoulder pain. And in some cases, I've seen it where it's been so severe that it caused frozen shoulder or even issues with Hashimoto's and damage to the thyroid. The next one that I see is you do not take help from others. You never ask for help. And if people help you, you either feel guilty or it puts you in high alert, because when help comes to you or kindness comes to you, it feels like a threat. But what happens with this is if somebody else needs help, you drop everything you're doing and you go and you help them, and you always put yourself last in line. And this hits on the heart chakra because you're feeling a void and lack of love, because in the fight or flight survival mode that created this behavior of wanting to jump and help people, but also feeling threatened or feeling alert or awkward and uncomfortable if someone helps you. What it does is it causes you're lacking in the love energy. So now what you're doing in an effort not only to feel love, but to give love, is you do too much for people. You put yourself out there, and then what happens is the energy vampires come in and they start taking advantage of you because you don't know how to set boundaries, because you never learned how to set boundaries, because you're in such a fight or flight state that you were giving too much love, more than you were receiving, and you're out of balance in the heart chakra. Now, what that can manifest into is shallow breathing or holding your breath when you're in state of stress. It also can manifest into heart issues like your heart fluttering when you're breathing, or cardiovascular issues. I've seen it also manifest into issues in the breast with having the fatty tissue cysts or cancer tumors, and also having issues in your lymph nodes with your lymphatic system, which of course can vibrate out into a variety of issues. The next behavior that I see is people who are delayed in making their own personal decisions. And this comes from being in a controlled environment where they're like micromanaged and controlled either by spouse, or I do see it a lot in career where they have a boss that throws their power around. And being in this controlled environment causes them over time to lose lack of confidence in themselves, lack of self-love, lack of their value, their self-worth. So if they make decisions, there's a significant amount of fear behind them because they're fearful of their decision making, like they don't know what they're doing. Even if they do, they still fear it. So when they're making these fear-based decisions, they're fearing the I told you so. They're fearing people watching them. They're fear of failure, fear of criticism and being belittled and ridiculed. And they're fearing all of these energies that have been imprinted into their energetic field through the behavior of the abuser with micromanaging them and controlling them, that they get to where they just can't make decisions. Now, with this type of behavior, this impacts the solar plexus chakra, which is behind the stomach, which over time, in being this in behavior of fearing your own decisions and your self-worth, it can manifest into stomach illness. And the stomach illness may start out with like stomach pains, feeling gassy or bloated. And over time, as this behavior continues, it intensifies in the fear and the anxiety, which causes acid in the stomach, which tells the body that there's stress. Acid is stress. And then what happens is out comes the hormone cortisol, which causes weight gain, and it makes it very difficult for people to lose weight. And then it'll manifest into GI issues, acid reflux, intestinal polyps. I've seen it go as far as someone having Crohn's disease or having intestinal cancer, colon cancer, because in some cases with they're in the home where they're being controlled and micromanaged, it affects the root chakra, which is the colon, and will cause colon cancer over a long period of time in this behavior. Now, the last behavior that I'll mention that I see the most, and it resonates in all 7 primary chakras depending on what's going on in the environment, but it's walking on eggshells. And I see this in almost every reading that I do. Somewhere in life, they were walking on eggshells. And if it starts out in childhood and it vibrates out in through the person's youth and then into adulthood, because they've now been conditioned to walk on eggshells. So what usually happens is usually the first relationship out of the home in their like young adult years, that person will reflect the trauma and the abuse in the childhood home. So they're still walking on eggshells, and that feeling of walking on eggshells, it dismisses your personal power, because now you're not able to stand in it fully because you're on a state of alert and you're in a hyper reactive state, and you're also hypersensitive to your environment because you're picking up on everything. This is also where the skill set and being gifted as an empath comes in, because you get so hypersensitive that you become gifted in feeling and absorbing people's energy around you in your environment. You automatically know where there's risk. Now, being in this behavior over a long period of time, as it manifests into illness and affects all 7 of those primary chakras, it can start out as pain and inflammation throughout your entire body and progress and get more severe as the longer you're in this environment. It'll eventually manifest into autoimmune issues such as fibromyalgia or Hashimoto's, rheumatoid arthritis or arthritis, a variety of cancers throughout your body, depending on what chakra that it's impacting the most, as well as stomach issues, neuropathy is a very common one. I apologize if I'm not saying that right, but it's the numbing of the feet or a tingling, burning sensation in your feet, as well as itching, dry skin, your hair falling out, or having rashes such as shingles or psoriasis or rosacea. So when you are in these behaviors that you know are not serving you, definitely tap into that, because there is something going on, and our behaviors and our pain are our body's way of trying to let us know that something is wrong. So if you want to learn more about this, check out my series. Click on series in my bio. There's 3 videos that explain in great detail our energy, trapped trauma that is energetically trapped and manifesting into illness in certain areas of our physical body, depending on what's going on. So definitely check out my series, and also follow me on Facebook, Define Your Glow.